pleasure to have you today for an interview. Wanted to ask you if how have you been handling this pandemic since 2020? I mean, how has you and the rest of the band members have been adjusting to this new way of life?
Well, we played our last show in December 2018, if you can believe that.
No. Seems like 1,000 years
show,
ago.
Yeah, it seems like forever. I had no idea that was going to be the last show for this long. I think I would have freaked out if I knew that. And we took a year out to move because we wanted to move home and move the studio, and that has turned into nearly 3 years now because of what's happened. Moving, I put all of my equipment into storage. Like, well, most of it. I had like a few guitars and some pedals laying around, and a little keyboard. So that album I sent you just now, the instrumental album, the Technicolour liquid audio machine. So to give you like the story of how that happened, my mum's dad passed away last year, at the start of last year. And I really wanted to make a tribute to him in some kind of way, in a musical way. And I had such limited equipment, but I wanted to do something for him so bad that it kind of pushed me to do what I could with what I had. I had just the most minimum setup, and that's what that album is. That's how that came about. And it came out so well, I ended up doing a whole like record. I think there's 12 songs on there now. They're just instrumental music.
How long did that take you to pull together?
Most of it came really quickly. A few weeks maybe. And then there's a couple of tracks I've added more recently. Mm-hmm. Like, just I wanted to flesh it out with a couple more tracks, and I had some things floating around I added to it, but the kind of general thing came really quick. Most of the time when I do stuff, it comes quite fast, and I have to keep up with it.
You know, what I like about your writing style is you're more of a poet-songwriter. It's like you're like an artist that just paints this canvas into words. And I'm going to be honest with you, sometimes I can't understand it. I try to decipher some of your story that you're kind of trying to sing through music. And I think that's a wonderful creative outlet for you as a musician and songwriter.
Thank you, man. I mean, if people don't know exactly what everything means, that suits me.
Oh yeah.
I think if it's too obvious or it's too concrete what it is for me, from my point of view, then I think it takes something away sometimes. I'm kind of more interested to hear what other people interpret it as. Do you know what I mean?
No, I think that's lovely because it gives us, the listener, a chance to partake in your world of your imagination and how you write your music, and we can interpret it the way we want to. And of course, the music also has a way of moving us in the direction that you're singing about. That's like a soundtrack to your words, and I love that writing style from you. So.
Yeah, I agree. Like, people can take part in it more if it's not too clear cut. Mm. And I also think it can give music like a longer shelf life. You come back to it more, and you mull over it more. And when it's too obvious and too clear cut, like it wears off quick. I think that's how it is for me with music.
No, I think in 10 years from now, I think some of those songs will be still relevant because of the way you wrote them. That's what I think.
Thank you. My thing is like songwriting more than anything else. That's what I want to write good songs, or the best songs I can, and then the rest of it, like the whole kind of psychedelia side of it, to me, I just see that more as how you arrange the music more than anything else. But I think it's like, you gotta be careful not to focus too much on the aesthetics and the pedals and the kind of the way you dress it up more than the actual songs. I think you need to have the solid songs first, and then you kind of arrange them in whatever style you want. You know what I mean?
No, I actually do know what you mean, because for the past 10 years, as psychedelia or psychedelic rock, or whatever you call it, has exploded around the globe. this movement, lack of a better word. A lot of the music is more surreal. There's not a lot of bands that focus on songwriting, and there are good bands that do have a very colorful way of writing their songs. And I can name a few from Australia and UK and your band. But in general, there's a lot of bands that do struggle on writing songs, and I know that because they emphasize more on instrumentals on top of their words, not the other way around. Like you write the words first, and then you dress it up with instrumentation, or however way you want to arrange that.
Yeah, I think you need a solid, it's like construction. You need a solid foundation. That's my opinion. If you're dressing up, if you're focusing on the aesthetics and dressing it up before you've really crafted a song, it's going to collapse in my eyes.
Yeah.
Wrong way around, I think.
No, it keeps you alive, and it keeps you more relevant in your music. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I just think it will last longer.
Yes.
If you know what I mean? It's hard to explain it because it's like, especially for people listening when there's not enough context. Like, it's music, it's a hard thing to put into words. But
yeah,
I think it's a problem with a lot of things these days. Like, people focus on the wrong things first. It's like, instead of maybe someone does something that's really of merit, and then as a consequence they become famous for it. Whereas there's too many people that fame is like the primary goal, and then it's like, what can I do to be famous? And they'll just kind of do anything. And it's just, to me, it's the wrong way around. And I think a lot of things in life are this way at the moment.
that we're going through this pandemic, and we do see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a long tunnel, but we do see a speck of light to this thing that's affecting all of us around the globe. Do you see in music right now the next renaissance of music coming out of the pandemic, especially in the UK?
I don't know, man. I'm kind of in a bubble a bit because I moved in the middle of this. I've just been focusing on like renovating a home and making this record. So I'm not really connected with what's going on, if I'm honest. I'm in my own space a little bit. But I think one positive is it's given some people a lot of time to focus on artistic things, because a lot of people are on furlough, or they like probably for the first time in years they've got weeks and months of kind of free time. Yeah. I think that something creative will come out of that.
Interesting.
Maybe, yeah, but a lot of people have probably been working away at things that they didn't have time to before.
No, I totally agree with you with that. I know a couple of musicians and bands that are just trying to think of some stuff to do for themselves, writing new music, playing an instrument, making that into a song. I mean, you got so much time to do this now. There's no excuse to make some good quality music. There really is no excuse. Talking about that, let's talk about your next album.
Let's do it.
It is, huh? What do we expect from all the other albums you've done the past couple of years?
So I've been kind of describing it as I think it's got the same DNA as something like the Trogs, but it's juicy. It's like the VU playing Trogs kind of songs, but underwater. That's kind of, but maybe a bit more lyrical, like you say, because I'm quite into my lyrics. The lyrics are not so kind of pop, 60s pop lyrics. They're more influenced by, I don't know, Dylan or Neil Young.
Wow, Stanley, that sounds really interesting.
But it sounds very colourful and it's kind of aquatic. The guitar, it sounds like it's underwater to me. And it's like a big aquatic carousel. It's colourful and it's melodic. Yeah, that's the best way I can explain it.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it. Are you working on the artwork, and is this going to be a vinyl record, not just digital, or?
Yeah, it's been ordered, man. It's on its way.
Okay.
But what's happened? Everyone has cancelled their records from last year, so the waiting list for vinyl is very, very long.
Wow.
All around.
That's cool.
But we hope that it should land with us around October, which means it will probably come out around November, December time.
Okay. You're going to have to send us a press release on that for PAL Magazine so we can review it.
Yeah, it's going to be like a psychedelic 60s pop influenced summer record that comes out probably at Christmas.
Oh, that's exciting to hear.
So I record like everything myself. I have my own. I mean, not at the moment. I don't actually have a studio because I've moved to build a new one. But usually I have my own space, which is where I've done everything that you've heard from us. It's just me in a windowless box, like creating stuff. I actually made this record quite a long time ago. But I make so much stuff that it's kind of, I think it's too much to just drop it all on everyone constantly. Too much for people to listen properly to one before the next one comes out. So I've kind of taken a break in releasing, but I've kept recording the entire time since the last record. So I think I've got something like 8 albums that are kind of in the wings, and they're recorded and they're finished. And this is the first of a batch of new music. So as far as the repression, I can't really clearly remember it because I make so much stuff. It's I mean, sometimes when we play, the guys will want to play a certain song. They're like, oh, can we do this one on the next tour? And I have to figure it out again, because I can't even remember what I was playing sometimes. Obviously, you were saying like the more kind of poetical stuff that I've been singing on Instagram, you know, just the clips I've been sharing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of stuff I've been writing too. So.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've got to organize it all. It kind of fries my brain sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I know that the songs are in development that you're putting out on Instagram and sharing it on Facebook. It's nice to hear you, just you and your guitar. It really is. Nice look at you, you know, on a personal level.
I mean, like you say, with everything being locked down and no music, I don't really know what else to do with myself. So I've just been writing songs and singing. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, that gives me another question before we get cut off from Zoom. What does Stanley do on an average day during the pandemic?
DIY. And I walk a lot, man. Like, I have to, pretty much every day I'll go for a pretty long walk or I'll just lose my mind.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen some of your video the long walks you do.
Yeah, I've been filming a lot. I've moved here recently, and I'm down by the seaside in the UK, so I'm really close to nature. And I was making those instrumental songs and taking these long walks to listen to the mixes and make sure everything's right.
Right.
And I think that I should put these two together, because it's kind of it's the headspace, and then I can put the visuals and the audio together. And the idea with releasing that on YouTube as videos was to kind of have it as a visual audio experience more than just music.
Right.
And yeah, I guess that's kind of a snapshot. Those videos are a snapshot into what most of my days are. I mean, here I'm really close to the White Cliffs of Dover, so I go walking along the top of there, and it's absolutely beautiful, man. It's like biblical views. That's
a perfect area for an artist. It really is.
And I listen to music and it's or sometimes lyrics. I might have something that's unfinished, and if I go for a long walk, it will just come really easy. And it's like, oh, okay, that's finished now. It just wakes me up, and it just keeps me sane, man. It keeps me on the straight and narrow.
How did you come up with the lyrics? How did you learn how to do the kind of songwriting that you did? It's very creative. It's like you're painting this tapestry of words and stories, and it's a pretty amazing talent you have. Did you always have that poetic design in all your life since you were a kid, or it just kind of matured over the years?
I think the very first time I tried to write lyrics, it was probably shocking, probably terrible.
Yeah.
I would have been very young. I don't really remember. I probably was, I don't know, like 15, 14. I don't remember the crap. But I used to I grew up listening to stuff like I listened to Bob Dylan and Johnny Cash and Neil Young. Like, my dad would play like Leonard Cohen records and stuff. So I've always, Tom Waits, I used to really like, well, I still do love him.
Those are good teachers.
Yeah, I used to listen to stuff like that when I was in school. So I've always aspired to write words, like that. So it's always been there. But it's definitely something you have to learn. I mean, I think people have a talent for it, but you do have to kind of train it too. It's not just like music kind of just falling out of the air, But I don't really know how I do any of it, really. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't do it, and then one day I kind of could, and I just keep I try to be really objective, I try to hear it back, and is this as good as it can be? Am I being lazy with these lines? Is this like generic here? And I do think about it a lot. So I wanted to, and I tried to keep it kind of vague, not too vague, but I think the moment it gets kind of too obvious, you're walking a fine line where it can get pretty naff.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't tell you really how to do it, man. I just do it.
Okay, Stanley, is there anything else you want to talk about before we zoom out of here?
All I would say is just keep an eye on us, because there's a lot of stuff brewing kind of just out of view that's going to start to materialize really soon, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
A lot of and projects that we're working on.
But it was a pleasure talking to you today, and I'm looking forward to the new album this year, and keep us in mind when that's when it's released.
It's nice to finally talk to you after all these years.
Yeah, it's been a while. We should have done this a long time ago. I'm so sorry about that.